Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Alexandra, and today I will moderate this webinar for you guys. So I already see many people already signed in. People are signing in right now as well. So if you wish, please introduce yourselves in the chat comments. Tell us where you're from, which company, which country. That's always very nice to know. So to start off, thank you very much that you took the time to join us for this loyalty webinar. Where we'll try to give you a practical guide on how to make smarter investments and to achieve a higher loyalty program's ROI. So I'll first introduce our speakers. With the blue background, we have Joanna, CRM and loyalty consultant in Benelux. And she actually analyzed a couple of popular loyalty programs, and she will share with us the strengths and weaknesses and what we can draw from that to do better. Then our dear guest speaker, Nick de Wilde, Executive Director at TTEC. Nick will dive deeper into the world of rewards and how to reward better and at a lower cost. And then last but not least, we have Lukasz Sloniewski. Consulting Director Loyalty IT at Comarch, and he will go more in depth on the technical side, so IT requirements, etc. Now, during the webinar, feel free to ask questions. Please do so in the questions tab, because then we will be able to track the questions and answer them. In the chat, they might lose themselves a bit. If you see a question that someone else asked and you're also very interested to know the answer, you can upvote it by pressing the button with an arrow. That way we'll really know that you would like an answer to that. We will try our best to answer all of the questions live, probably at the end of the webinar. But don't worry, if we forget something, if we don't get the chance to answer a question, we'll drop you a quick email just after the webinar, and we'll make sure to let us know what our expert's opinion is. Then we'll also have a few polls. This you can also find on the right panel on the right. It's the third tab. So it would be very nice if you could give us your opinion during the webinar. This is very valuable for us. We'll also discuss a few results. So right now, I'm just gonna post a couple of polls. That way you can get familiar with it.
They're posted.
Okay, they're already posted apparently. My bad. So you can just feel free to answer them during. Then just to finish off next week, probably we will send you guys a little follow-up mail where we will include a link to our contact details, the PowerPoint presentation, as well as a recording that you can rewatch. And also we'll add a couple of bonus links, like our new white papers on loyalty. So stay tuned for that. So I am done. So sit back and relax. We hope you enjoy, and I'm leaving the floor to Joanna.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alexandra, for this introduction. So indeed, I will be starting. My name is Joanna. Again, I work for Comarch. It has been 9 years now, always in the loyalty department. So I will indeed present to you a selection of conclusions that have been published by a few market analysts at the beginning of this year regarding the state of well-known loyalty programs, their strengths, weaknesses, and areas of improvement or modernization. So therefore, we'll try together to answer the following question. What are the most important areas companies should invest in to build modern loyalty programs that will respond to both market trends and customer needs? And then later on, my colleagues will describe a bit more in detail how to do that at a reasonable cost, especially when we're talking about what constitutes big cost, which is rewarding or technology that supports your loyalty program. So let's begin. So first of all, I have a good news. Good news is that the reports, they do confirm that loyalty programs remain popular and profitable. And that's definitely a good news for you. It's definitely good news for us. And the participation remains pretty high. There's also a number of new loyalty programs coming up on the market every year, mainly within grocery, drugstores, the fashion. H&M could be a very nice example amongst market leaders, global ones. We are also, as we speak, launching a brand new loyalty program amongst a very well-known luxury business. And by the way, luxury is just an example, but there's so many new industries like insurance, manufacturing, that seem to be opening up to the idea of loyalty as they truly see the potential in the data they can collect, the digital engagement they can generate, also simply the direct communication channel that they can open up with their end consumers regarding the distribution channels. So again, this point is definitely not a surprise, not to me, maybe not to you either, but I still consider this is worth presenting, because we keep hearing the questions like, there's so many programs on the market. Should I keep investing? Should I create a new one? Is it worth doing this? And so for me, the answer is yes. And this is what is confirmed by the reports. First of all, because shoppers, they tend to actually take it for granted that there is a program. They tend to expect that they've been rewarded for just making purchases. Like they really expect that there is this personalized content. They expect the instant feedback. They expect to be incentivized to purchase, and not via advertisement or some mass communication, but really the one-on-one relevant communication. So it became a standard in their eyes. So not doing this means providing that bad experience that might actually stand out, but in a bad way for you. So they really expect this, and the program reinforced their shopping choices. Like, this is the best choice you've made, and you got it at the best possible price, regardless the channel that you have used. So from the shopper's perspective, this is definitely expected. And on the other side, we have the business, and that also is still confirmed that the programs do bring extra margin and they drive frequency. And so we have a number of examples from our own projects, or just in the reports. There's also Nordstrom, this very famous fashion retailer in the United States, that says that the members, they spend 4 times more than the non-members, and they shop 3 times more. That's a pretty nice KPI to keep in mind when deciding about the budget allocation. And generally, the loyalty program still remains the best possible retention marketing technique that a company can choose. So if you do take the decision to either invest in a new program, or create or improve, modernize, digitalize an existing one, the question is how to do that, right? How to stand out amongst the others, what to focus on, how to communicate to people. There's so many opportunities that you could take here and decide. So creating a difference is definitely difficult, but it's possible. And it has been identified via the research, the Forrester research that has been published, that the programs that are scoring best, that are really standing out amongst others, are the ones improving the overall customer experience. So this is really what makes a difference. And as a perfect example, I could take maybe Amazon Prime with its fast delivery for members, or any type of frequent flyers program that offer the fast lanes or access to lounges. That is far more appreciated than any rewards that you could give to the people. And it's also pretty addictive. So once you get used to that experience, the convenience, the speed, it's pretty much hard to give up upon. So that turns out to be very effective. So because today is all about investments, the budget allocation, we can conclude from that making a difference does not necessarily mean offering more. The difference can be made in various ways, and you don't need to spend millions on the rewarding budget. Could be done via providing some exclusive content, maybe special privileges. We're talking about programs where being a member, really feels like being someone special, like the company cares for you to be there as a member. And there's so many cheap ways, but that you'll see later, to do that with just like making people feel special, giving them some sort of badges or just simple thank you message at the right moment, or some follow-up questions after the purchasing or ordering. So that whole experience.
Hello.
Okay, I see Joanna probably lost her connection. So let's just wait a couple of minutes. I'll try to check out where she is, and then we can continue. So sorry guys.
I believe that if she doesn't reconnect quickly, we can skip quickly to Nick's part, and then
Yeah, of course. Let's just wait 1 minute and then.
Yeah.
Joanna, we miss you. Yeah, so do we.
So sorry, I'm back. Someone
Yeah, she's back on stage.
me out and said that somebody else connected with my credentials, so I have no idea what happened.
Okay.
So I am back. Let me just get back to where we were. We were saying that there's so many different ways of appreciating customers without offering them more. So here, based on the reports, it goes without saying that the winning strategy for you and your customers is offering a program that improves overall shopping experience, ordering, shopping, customer experience, customer service as well. So the fact is, and what is pretty sad, is that sometimes loyalty programs do quite the opposite, and they are ruining the experience at various touch points. So that should really never happen, because this is the opposite of what we're expecting from a loyalty program. So here in this report, Forrester analysts, they have looked at programs from various angles, mainly the ease of enrollment, the ease of redeeming, the participation benefits, the account management capabilities, strength of communication and privacy. And it is clear that if you don't get those basics right, even if you spend millions on the rewarding or you buy the best loyalty tool possible in the market, it won't work if you fail at any of those crucial customer touch points. So the worst thing you could do, or maybe if this is happening, this is something you really need to work on, is to put, for example, a program in which it's difficult to enroll, or a program that requires a lot of effort to put for the members to redeem, or that has unattainable rewards or unclear, complex benefits rules, like how do I get it, when do I get it, what do I have to do? And there are still programs like that on the market, and also a program that does not offer personal information tracking, or that information is not complete or misses the omni-channel aspect. That is quite frustrating for customers. And of course, the privacy provisions. If you lose trust of our members, it's over. So out of all these elements, let's have a look at which one is considered the weakest among those popular loyalty programs, which element of the program is still the one that really requires some improvements in order to provide that experience we're talking about. So before I give you the answer, I will just check if you have responded to the poll. Okay, it's between you think that it's between benefits of participation and communication management. It's equal, 36%. So actually, based on that report, which has been made by asking customers, members, what they think about it, also the operators of the program, it has been identified that the communication in the program is the weakest element, and that even the most popular loyalty programs, they do have very weak communication scores. So it seems that maybe a lot of you already also experienced that as a member of programs, that they don't successfully communicate about the membership. Whether this is sending message or just simply sometimes access on the website, it's not always easy to find. It's not always easily explained about the program benefits, the purchases, shoppers action. It's not there. Sometimes also that information is there, but it still is not updated in a real time, or sometimes it's lacking that omnichannel aspect that we have mentioned. And also Forrester states that there's still a lack of personalization. So programs could be more engaging, and that personalization is still more a target than an actually applied marketing technique. So there should be really something to consider here, to gather the feedback from the consumers, from the members, to be able to engage them with these unique ways based on their experience with the brand, but also their preferences. And that is, according to Forrester, the winning strategy for the future. So having said all that, what should be your key areas for investment when it comes up to the loyalty program strategy? Let me also here very quickly check the polls. What is your opinion about that? Because I have copy-pasted the whole list from another report that I've been verifying. So most of you, the biggest score from you is loyalty program, the new features. And the second score will be personalization. You're still answering now, loyalty, new feature, automation, rewards and benefits. Okay. You are not that far from what has been identified. Okay, it's still changing. Personalization, 10 automation. Okay, let me show you the results. So I believe it's actually not a surprise after everything that has been said so far, that personalization and communication of offers comes first. So that, based on the report prepared by Open Loyalty, that is, it provides you with a lot of those different statistics. They do identify that the personalization, communication of offers should go first. And that is even more relevant now under this weird COVID circumstances, because as in every crisis, the communication should go first. So there's a real need in communicated, everything is shifted to that area, especially that there are some countries where stores are closed, there's no face-to-face meetings in the B2B. So the digital communication, personalization, automation are more important than ever. And also based on that report, I find it very interesting that partnerships and co-promotions become very important, because indeed it helps you a bit, allows some cost sharing. And you can see clearly from that checklist that more innovative projects like in-store experience, proximity marketing, facial recognition, all that has been really put away, maybe even canceled for quite some time, although those were the buzzwords we kept hearing the past 2 years, like in-store experience, digital, physical. That seems to be really put away, and the whole focus is on the digital communication, personalization, automation, to make sure that you have the right data, secure data, and that you know how to use them to build that communities and direct personalized channels with your end consumers. And what is also something that you can see on this slide, and this is my very last comment, is that companies are not that willing to invest much on rewards and benefits. This is here on the 8th position. Promotions or offers, which are on the 15th. And also technology, maybe not a good for us, but here it's on the 12th position, software, new systems or tools. So therefore, we are happy here to share with you some practical guidelines on the modern, digital and affordable rewarding mechanics and the newest technologies that will help you to reach the strategic objectives that we have just mentioned in that first part without ruining your budget. So I'll pass my words to Nick, which will start with the rewarding mechanics. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. I'm happy to be here. Let me quickly first introduce myself. I'm Nick de Wilde. I'm based in Brussels. I've been working in loyalty for many, many years. In fact, since the beginning of loyalty with frequent flyer programs, I've been active in loyalty programs. First program I worked on was the Sabina frequent flyer program, so Belgian Airline frequent flyer program. Have worked on different other frequent flyer programs for KLM, for Swissair. And from there on, I've implemented different loyalty programs in telco, retail, and finance industry all over Europe. Today, I'm still a loyalty consultant, and also since 4 years responsible for the TTEC office in Brussels. At T-Tech, which was formerly called Peppers and Rogers Group, we help customers design, implement to improve their customer experience. So today I want to spend about, let's try to keep it in 15 minutes to talk about smarter loyalty. In terms of rewarding, we are facing difficult economic times, and especially now since the whole COVID happening, investments are scrutinized, and also loyalty programs, I think, cannot escape this trend. Joanna already mentioned that loyalty programs do drive value for companies, in that they drive frequency and value for companies. But that's something that you have to prove to your management, and that's not always simple. It's with many programs that I've worked in the past, it's not always easy to prove the value of the programs, to really measure the impact. So smart loyalty programs, a basis is that you have good measurement strategy in place, and that you can prove the benefits and value of your program to the company. But yeah, going into detail on that would lead us very far, and I think it merits a webinar in itself to talk about loyalty program measurement strategies. But anyway, it's all about ROI, about, I invest €1 in my program, and what's the return on that euro that I put in my program. If you want to improve ROI, being smarter, you can do two things. Either you can try to cut costs of your loyalty program, or try to increase the effectiveness of your program and the benefits that come out of your program. Yeah, as marketeers, obviously, we all prefer rather to focus on increasing the impact of our program rather than to be forced to cut on costs. However, this is in many times a reality, and economic challenges demand that we sometimes rationalize our programs and that we cut on costs. The good news is that I think there are smart ways to cut on costs. When you look at it, and that's something that have from my experience, is that the typical cost structure of a loyalty program is about 1/3, 2/3, where 2/3 of your budget is financing the rewards that you give out through your program, and 1/3 is covering the operational costs for management of your program, communication about your program, and servicing the members of your program. So if you are forced to cut costs, it's obvious that you will look at the part where you can generate the biggest impact, being the reward costs. So it might seem easy to cut reward costs on the reward side, but you have to be very careful, because it can ruin your program if you do it not in the right way. So the key question that we are trying to answer in this section is, what are the most effective rewarding mechanics that will ensure profitability, but at the same time guarantee your program success? As I said, you cut reward costs, be careful and make sure that your program stays relevant. Because, I've seen it happen many times. In a few months from now, around August, September, we'll all have to submit our budget for next year, and we'll all have pressure from finance or top management to cut costs. When you're managing a loyalty program, they'll ask you to reduce the liability of the outstanding points on the balance of your program, or for next year to reduce the number of points issued to save on reward costs. Well, then it's the moment to rather focus the discussion on the benefits that your program brings, rather than to go into a cost-cutting exercise. So it's important that you have your measurement strategy in place, that you have very convincing and believable arguments to demonstrate that the business case on your program is positive. Anyway, if you're forced anyway to cut on costs, the scenarios that are typically evaluated cut on rewarding costs are reducing the value of points by issuing less points, or by increasing the number of points that members need to redeem rewards. So in other words, what you do is you reduce the payout of your program. Another tactic that I've seen used by many companies is to make the redemption rules more strict. So, for example, by increasing the number of blackout periods in which you cannot use or redeem the award. This is typically done in industries that have empty seats or empty rooms in off-peak periods. Also shortening the validity of your points so that they expire sooner and that customers have less chance to redeem them can have an impact on your reward costs. And a version that I've seen in many cases is a softer version of that, where customers that have points that are about to expire are on purpose not being warned of that, in the hope that customers will not redeem their points and so that cost will not be generated. This is where I have to warn you, because remember, you have a loyalty program. I think because the purpose is to influence behavior of your customers in order to drive the objectives that you have with your program. And I've worked in many programs, and what we've seen from analyzing the data is those customers that have redeemed are typically the ones that have changed their behavior. You do not have so much impact on customers that have not benefited from your program. So in order to stay competitive, in order to have results from your program, it is important that you reach a certain redemption and maintain a certain redemption ratio in your program. Typically, we see that what I would call a healthy program, typically with around 60 to 70% of the points being redeemed by members. If you go under that, I think you lose part of your effectiveness of your program. So what I would say is that rücksichtslos cutting in reward costs can lead to a situation where you still spend a lot of money on managing the program, communicating about the program, organizing your customer service and so on, but that the impact of your program becomes negligible because you have lost relevancy in the eyes of your customers. Customers that have not redeemed will not feel that your program is relevant to them. They will not change their behavior, and the impact of your program will be a lot less, while you still carry a certain reward cost, while you still spend money on operating and communicating about the program. So in other words, if you want on reward costs, be very careful about it and base your changes to the program on careful analysis where you can save and where you should not save. Maybe coming back to what Joanna already mentioned is a few figures that I've picked from research. And indeed, as Joanna already said, loyalty programs are still very popular. There are more programs still being launched every day. There are more and more members in these loyalty programs, and people are carrying a lot of loyalty cards. That is not the problem. The problem is more in the activity rate that is declining. On average, well, 3-4 years ago, I would say people active in 60-70% of the programs that they participated in. Now the activity rate is at 47%. And sometimes the sentiment, if you investigate on social media about loyalty programs, is negative. When we drill down into why is the sentiment on social negative about loyalty programs, 44% of that negative sentiment is due to a lack of reward relevance, of reward flexibility and reward value. So this is another argument to say, like, listen, if you want to cut reward costs, do it carefully and do it based on a good insights and analysis. So don't use the scissors to cut costs in a linear way, but by reducing points earned or reducing the points validity period. Rather, realign your point scheme in line with what your program objectives are. I know also from experience that after operating a program in a certain way for years, we sometimes lose a little bit of track of the real objectives of our programs that were defined at the outset, and that the program is not aligned to the new realities of our business. For example, maybe you only had a physical channel in the past when your program was launched, but now you want to move more customers to your digital channels where you make higher margins. So then your points scheme should reflect that, so that your points and your associated reward cost is more aligned with the business that has changed and the margins that have changed in your business. Also, it's important to realign your point scheme in line with your customer base. I think we have to be very critical, and maybe some customers are not valuable enough, not in actual value, and maybe also not in potential future value to be in your program and to cost reward budget. So then you should realign your member enrollment strategy to avoid these customers in the future. Or you should give them less points, for example, by implementing tiers and giving lower points per euro or dollar spent to the members in the lowest tier. So key is to spend your reward budget really on the most valuable customer segments. And to align your program accordingly. The third suggestion is to digitize your reward, to bring your program digital or mobile. I mean, mobile is a highly personal and emotional platform. We all spend so much time on our mobile phones. We use our mobile phone for interacting with our closest person context, to go on social media networks, even for dating, to share personal photos with our friends and videos. So these phones are used for our most personal digital activities. And this is also an opportunity. This means that phones can drive extremely personal engagement if leveraged correctly. So mobile is the place to be where you need to, when you're organizing a loyalty program and delivering loyalty program rewards. This is a trend we clearly see in many loyalty programs, that companies are moving away from physical rewards and replacing them by digital or mobile rewards. So my recommendation is use features like passbook, mobile coupons, and so on to leverage your loyalty program and to make it more convenient, accessible, and relevant and engaging for your customers. For digitizing rewards also brings clearly benefits for you as a company, because you can save on warehousing, stock, fulfillment, shipping, postage cost by not having to ship physical rewards. It's a much faster, much more economical process to process digital versus physical rewards. And in general, digital rewards allow also easy partner integration. And this is the next point that I would like to bring on, is to, when you have a loyalty program and you are designing or redesigning your awards catalog, make sure that you involve a good partner ecosystem. A good partner ecosystem can be so important to raise the attractiveness of your program by offering choice to your members, choice on how to spend their benefits, their points, but it can also generate a lot of cost savings for you by really creating win-win relationships. An example is for example, for Q8. Q8 is a petrol station chain in Benelux and other European countries. They launched not so long ago their loyalty program. The problem is that the margins in the petrol industry are really, really thin. I'm talking about a couple of percent. This means that if Q8, through their loyalty program, want to give €5 discount to a customer, it really costs them close to those €5 in providing that discount. Now, when they integrated partner awards in this program, they were able to cut down on costs because, for example, H&M became a partner in their program. In the industry of H&M, the margins are totally different. And H&M, when they give a €5 discount, but on a basket of, on average, I don't know, 40 euro or something, and with the different margins involved. So the cost of that €5 discount to H&M is much lower. And H&M sells these €5 discount awards to Q8 at maybe €3 instead of the €5 that this €5 discount would cost on fuel. So by involving third partners in the program with other margin structures, Q8 was able to cut down their reward cost with 25–30%. So it provides, on the one hand, to the company an opportunity to provide much choice to their members on how to spend their points, but it also clearly has a financial impact on the reward costs. So it is very important to look at partners to involve in your reward strategy for attractivity and financial reasons. Last but not least, I would say gamification has been a trend for a long time, in the past years. I think it's still very relevant to introduce gamification also in your reward strategy and to be creative as a whole in your reward strategy. I think when you design a game, a bit too fast. When you design a game or a contest with a very attractive high value or an exclusive prize, and you offer it to some people, that members that can win the prize instead of to everybody, it can help you save money. For example, Proximus, a client of ours, is a Belgian telecom operator. Obviously, they could not afford to send all of their customers to Tomorrowland, which is a well-known music festival for free. So they designed a game to guess the names of DJs, songs, and so on. They designed a game in which the member could travel through a virtual decor of a Tomorrowland virtual stage. And on this stage, the customer could find tips to try to win this game in guessing names of DJs, names of songs, and so on. The winners got an exclusive VIP treatment at the Tomorrowland Festival. But what they also did is that all who tried the game but did not win got the consolation prize, being free access to Tomorrowland-like content on the Proximus content platforms. So a key recommendation and a key learning there is when you gamify, make sure that the game or contest in itself is engaging, that it is an experience in itself to play that contest or play that game or participate in that contest. Ensure also that there's there's an impression of having a realistic chance to win. That is important, that customers believe that by participating they can still win. And consolation prizes, even a small attention, can impact very positively on NPS as well. So these are things to take along when you design a gamified rewarding strategy. I think besides gamification, just being creative in your rewarding strategy can also help you save on money. Sometimes rewards can be attractive, but don't necessarily need to cost anything, or not much at least. Think of inviting your members to discover your sales, for example, the day before the wider public, before you open the sales to the wider public. Or think of a private shopping night for your top customers. Think of free apps, services, or content that make life easier or more fun or more interesting. Examples of that are, for example, Nike. They sell sportswear. but they also have an app that coaches you with personalized training programs. Think about food retailers that offer recipes. Don't necessarily cost much, but providing that content can mean a lot of added value for your customers. Or cosmetic brands that offer online personalized beauty advice, for example. So, to summarize is, I think, when you think about how can I make rewarding smarter, I think it's important that you have a good insight in who are my customers and which are the key program drivers of my loyalty program first, so that you do that your homework and that you have those data and insights. That from that and combined with a good measurement strategy, you keep your business case up to date and make it granular enough in order to simulate different reward scenarios. Is your loyalty scheme aligned with your business objectives and your customer segments? Is a question that I think we should all check on a regular basis and provide an answer to that. Am I making the most of digital rewarding? Because I think there are certainly benefits in there. And of course, the role of partners in your program to help increase the attractivity of your program and to drive costs down. And last but not least, how can I add gamification and just creative ideas to drive my reward costs even further down? So this is a very short checklist on smart rewarding strategies. We covered the reward cost. There are also clever and smart things to do in reducing your operating cost. And I think I now hand over to Luca, who will talk a bit more on how platform choices might help you to reduce costs in that area.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jana. I will focus on how to invest in a technology. So, but first I will introduce myself again. Lukas Slaniewski, with Comarch for the last 13 years, all the time responsible for the loyalty solutions that we have, and happy to share with you my thoughts about the costs of technology that are not very often that easily visible and should be considered when you as marketers, you are taking the decisions for selecting the right technology for your needs. We are posting 2 new polls, questionnaires in the application. I wanted to ask you to share with us if you already have some loyalty technology, what is the model that you use? Do you build it in-house, or do you buy a third-party software and then adapt it and host it on premise, or do you use more like a software as a service or cloud model? And then the second question would be, where do you believe you spend too much money and that should cost less, the technology itself? Which areas would you like to optimize? You believe they are not worth the money that you're paying. So thanks for answering. I can clearly see that most of you, for now, out of those answers, are using the third-party software, but you host it on premise, which gives us some good understanding of what is happening out there. Okay, so the key question that I'll try to answer is, what are the elements that build the whole total cost of using loyalty technology, and what are the options, and what are the ways to keep it at the lower level? So basically, if we're looking at the cost generators on the technology side, there are obviously those 3 main areas that we need to consider. Of course, at the first side, we're looking the application and the IT behind that application. So that's obvious. You need to buy the software or produce the software, develop that software, and then you need to make it work. You need to make it operate somewhere. So you need the servers, you need the networks, you need a lot of those complex IT solutions behind. But very often we forget about the resources that will operate that system, and we forget about how easy it is for people to operate that and to create a concept, and do they really have the skills needed, how long it's going to take them to learn how to do it, and so on and so on. Very important element also of that whole technology ecosystem is to think how agile we can be. So, and especially, you know, the whole situation right now, the crisis connected to COVID, I believe it showed many companies and made them think about how easily they can reduce the costs, how quickly they can adapt to the changing environment. So, you know, how much people do you need to operate that ecosystem? Is it your resources or you outsource it? Can you resign from them quickly? Can you offload that cost if that's not needed anymore? How quickly you can remove some costs, how quickly you can scale up, but also scale down. Everyone is thinking about scaling up, but what about scaling down in a situation like we have right now? And also, very importantly, how easy it is to add, remove, or replace the component. And by component, I mean every single piece of that ecosystem that we're talking. So not only the application, not only the server, but also the person that is taking care of that. How easy it is to onboard new people to replace all those elements. So if we're looking at the cost of technology, there are some costs that are very easy to compare and very visible. So usually when we are discussing with our clients or potential partners or potential clients, we see what do they compare at the first sight. So this is very obvious. So they are looking at the licenses cost, what is the cost of support, of maintenance, of hosting that solution, how much hardware do they need, how much are we charging or the integration is going to charge for making that solution work. How many people on my side do I need to operate that software? So that's measurable. That's very easy because you can see that. You can ask for the offer. But then there are a lot of other costs that might appear and pop up when you are using the technology that you don't take into account when you are actually selecting that technology, and you basically should, because there are many aspects that you should think of. First of all, the cost of learning. Do you need to guide the vendor or the technology provider on how to do things? Are you competent enough to know, how to run the innovative loyalty and so on, how to operate the program? If you have to onboard some new people, how easy it is going to be for them to learn how those applications works, how to operate, and so on and so on. So the cost of learning is always, or very often, not taken into account at all. The cost of potential misconfigurations. So you need to think of making the processes simple and making the usage of technology as simple as possible and as complete as possible. So the configuration should be like easy to do by any user of that applications, and also should cover as much or as complete process as possible. Because if we need to engage a lot of people using a lot of different systems to make the process from A to Z complete, there are so many potential elements where someone might be mistaken or some data is not going to be transferred correctly. And then the cost of such a misconfiguration, because someone didn't know or someone didn't check, might be huge. We've seen a lot of examples of promotions or processes being configured not great or not perfectly, and then causing huge costs on the client side of giving out too many points, too many discounts, or having some issues like that. So you need to make sure that the software helps you to run down those processes completely and also prevents you from misconfigurations. So suggesting, checking, analyzing the outcome of that configuration. There is also another portion connected to change and introducing innovation. So it's very tempting to take the software or build the software, because of course, obviously, you're going to do it the best because you know your company and your clients and your needs the best, or take a solution that is not that big or complex, and then adapt it, customize it deeply so it perfectly suits your needs. And obviously, that's one of the strategies, but this is a strategy for reach, I would say, because then like any change or any innovation that you want to introduce means a lot of changes, a lot of customizations, a lot of new integrations to be made. So as long as you keep close to the standards, then it's much easier to perform changes or introduce innovations if the vendors provide them. So that's also something that we or our clients keep forgetting when they are comparing the technologies for running loyalty or already implementing a technology for loyalty. And very often then they find out after many years of going into that direction of super deep customizations that they created a monster basically, and that's very difficult to operate and to change anything there. And then we have like also a big portion of reliability of the vendor and of the software technology provider, because there are huge costs that could be generated by delays in delivery of any changes, configurations, the project itself, the unavailability of the service. It might generate huge costs. Of course, those are direct costs or indirect costs of losing a trust, of making the experience bad. As Joanna was mentioning, the experience is a key to build a loyalty, or the security breach that might happen. So you need to also make sure that the technology that you're choosing, you can trust it and you can be very secure on how it works, and that it follows all the standards, and so on and so on. So what we would recommend as a quick recommendations is to, first of all, use the knowledge of the experts. So outsource the tasks and the areas of work where you don't feel comfortable, or where processing or gaining a knowledge and expertise would be very costly. So you can just use the experts. Of course, very often the shortcut or the quick thinking is like, okay, they charge so much. Why they charge so much? We have people who can do it way cheaper. But sometimes, like great ideas that comes out from the experience, for many years of experiences, could solve the issues and could save hundreds of thousands of euro potentially by just making few quick, simple decisions coming out of those experts' knowledge. Standardize. We do see that trend. Big corporations already have noticed that first customizing the solutions and then also allowing for too big granulations of solutions that they choose is a path to huge costs at the end. So we see that change in the mindset of thinking that I want to be standard and I want to more use the standard software, try to utilize it in the best way with the ideas, but not to customize it too much. And also, if you're running a business that has like multiple brands or operates a business in multiple countries, or you sell through different channels, it's very important, because we've seen that along the time there was a trend of building those silos. So every business line, every brand, every market, they were able to choose their own solutions dedicated for their specific needs. And this created also a huge, very difficult to manage IT environments within organizations. So right now we see a change in that vision, changing that strategy, going into the standardizations of the tools among brands, sales channels, markets, and so on. So it's also very important, if you're running such a business, more complex organization, to think about that, not to wake up in a dead end with huge costs. Focusing on user interface, that's also very important. And I not necessarily mean like the system needs to be super simple. Of course, the simpler the better. But I also think about it should allow you to run or plan or configure the process end to end. So you should look for the solutions and for the technology that allows you to run the processes that will be then automatically applied in all other channels, in all the channels you operate, in all other systems. So you don't need to engage too many people to configure too many things in many systems to achieve a business goal, which is a promotion, coupon campaign, or whatever. Also, the reduction of partners, that's another trend that we see that helps to reduce the cost, because obviously you can find the solutions that are very narrow, that are specializing in a certain business, achieving business goals, but then at the end, dealing with so many different partners, so many different solutions, trying to integrate them, make them work, is generating those indirect hidden costs that are not so easy to see at the first sight. And then sharing the costs is obviously a good strategy. So look for the technologies and the ideas that will allow you to make sure that you're making use out of the roadmap of those solutions, out of the vendors' investments in the R&D, and so on and so on. So we at Comarch, we do have, and we are helping to optimize those loyalty technology choices for many companies from different industries. Since almost 20 years, we're working with like the biggest brands around the world, with a very complete marketing platform, which helps you to run your campaigns, loyalty, marketing, analytics, currently also supported with machine learning and so on and so on. But recently, we also introduced loyalty fully in cloud, and we obviously see that being a trend and that being a solution for many industries that couldn't afford to go with their loyalty solutions because of the cost of that technology. Right now, we believe that with the cloud approach, with the standardization approach, and with the new cloud technologies to process and host data, we're able to reduce those costs greatly. And that can help you to either start the adventure with the loyalty scheme or standardize the technology that you use across many markets or across many brands, or just be like cloud native if that's your organization strategy. Of course, you need to remember that cloud approach requires a lot of conscious decisions, and it's completely different than licensed software, customized software. So the assumption is that you need to rather look for the platform that is going to guide you, that is going to give you innovations like from time to time, but it's going to be driving you rather than you're going to be driving the solution. But that has obviously a lot of benefits. It's all about the standardization of the processes, and it's all about a smart integration within the ecosystem. So if you feel like you're ready for that, you would like to challenge yourself, we are very happy to invite you for booking some meeting with us, some demo where we could show you more details of it. So lastly, the very quick checklist of what should you be looking at when you are thinking about the loyalty technology. Based on what I said, we would suggest to analyze how complete the solution is. Does it allow you to, manage your processes fully, not just the fractions of those processes? Are you going to get the end-to-end support, or you need to find a lot of other partners to help you with the strategy, with the hosting, with the integration per each market? That generates a lot of cost and a lot of issues. Is that solution adapted to your current needs? So do you have to buy something bigger, or can you start with something small and then adapt? So is it ready to grow with you as well? Or are you going to have to look for another partner if you need something more? Because that's important to make sure that you make a smart choices from the very beginning. Choosing the provider that can help you today and is not going to charge you more than they should for what you need today. But then if you need to grow, if you need more components, it's there. You don't need to take it from outside, integrate it, and so on. Plus check the roadmap, the vision of that solution, and most importantly, the reliability. Can you trust it? Do they have the experience? Do they have the certifications? That's all the elements that we keep forgetting to think of, but they might generate huge costs at the end.
Thank you, Łukasz. Thank you, Nick. We don't have much time for a conclusion left, but I believe we have managed to answer all the questions in written. And if anyone has an extra question, please just drop us an email, just give us a call. We're around or available at any time. As a very short conclusion, I'll just end up on a positive note. Like from what we see also, and thank you so much for responding to the polls. We also that's also confirmed within the polls that like 70% of you are running a program or planning a program. So this is still a very strong marketing tool and worth thinking through, carefully thinking through, designing and making sure we respond to customers and that you use the technologies that are available, that you use the digital rewarding opportunities that are here. This is not easy because there's such a big, there's so many options to choose. So it has to be really carefully planned. And we are also here to help you out with this, to make sure that you have what you need. And so, yeah, the positive option is that you can really do it differently now. There's a really big difference, and we have all learned from both software provider sides, the strategy consulting companies, and our customers. Like, we used to just make our systems bigger, and our customers used to make our RFP bigger and the list longer, and they've been asking for so many things. And at the end, when the project started, half of it was not what they actually needed or required. So I believe we all have learned what loyalty means, what should be there, how to get the basics right, and there are options and tools possible to make it at quite an affordable cost, whatever your plan or strategy is. So I hope you have found a bit of a practical or insights or information here in our webinar. Of course, this is pretty general because you guys are from different countries, different industries, so it's a bit difficult to really speak in a language of a particular industry. But then, yeah, if you need further information, please do not hesitate to contact us. We'll be, of course, sending you that presentation, the webinar link as well. It will be available for you to have a look at it. Yeah, if you want to be contacted, make sure to also initiate the contact, because thanks to all the GDPR, we're not that open. So yeah, please don't hesitate to contact us, and thank you so much for your time. We hope that all of you are safe and healthy, and for those who want to get back to the office, I wish that whole isolation is over, and for those who prefer to stay home, watch Pizza Mask and Paw Patrols with their kids, I hope this lasts as long as possible. So thank you very much and have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.